problems that we're facing. Inviting broad discussion goes back to getting stakeholder buy-in, which we've already covered in earlier. Considering the legal framework, frequently we'll have to change some laws. Providing staffing, probably the most common problem that I've run into in election IT staffs, technology staff, is that if you can recruit them and train them, somebody else wants to hire them. So this is one of the things that I'll defer to discussion in the afternoon group, but it's a critical question of how do we keep good technology staff in the election commissions. Probably the second most important, I said the most important is identify the problem. The second most important for successful technology implementation is to start small. And Ule already talked about having feasibility tests, having pilot projects, and so these are absolutely critical. Why would we want to implement some large-scale thing that we've never done on a small scale? I'll come back to that in just a minute. Providing adequate time. This is when I said I'll come back. Don't experiment with elections. If you've never done it before, then don't do it. I think that's a great guideline for wide-scale election processes, election technologies. If I were learning to drive, I wouldn't jump in a Ferrari and take it out on the freeway. I would take an old car back on some side streets that aren't driven very much. And yet, time after time, I see people trying to build wide-scale changes into election technology that it's going to affect the entire electoral process when they've never done a small test or small pilot. So going back to feasibility, feasibility studies are a chance to play with the technology in your office and learn how it works and find out, does it seem to provide something that we need? Pilot projects are a chance to go out and test it and find out what are the changes to procedures, what are the possible pitfalls when we can do a small amount of damage instead of doing major damage. So experimentation should be done on very, very small contained areas and not first-time technology blasted out to affect the entire election. And finally, organize. And this will be my last point. And instead of talking much about it, I'll just, one quote is that this is from Bill Gates. And if there's been any cheerleader for technology in the world, it's probably Bill Gates. And Gates says that automation applied to an efficient, organized operation will magnify the efficiency. Automation applied to an inefficient operation will magnify the chaos. If you have a problem, the first place to start is by improving your organization. Try to determine, are there changes to legal structure? Are there changes to procedure? Are there changes to training that we can do to address this problem? After you've done all of those things, if you've not solved the problem, then you've at least created a platform by which you might be able to introduce some technology that has a chance of being sustainable, appropriate, and effective. So I hope we'll enjoy our lunch, and we'll come back to this in the discussion group after. Thank you.